What's going on, everyone? Scott here. Welcome back to the channel. So Michigan State suffers a tough 69-77 loss against number one ranked Kansas in the Champions Classic on Tuesday night. And listen, this is a game that Michigan State honestly should have and probably could have won this game. Listen, their defense on Kansas was superb all night long, forcing them to shoot a horrible percentage in the first half. Kansas was able to make some shots from the outside in the second half, but for the most part, this game is one that Michigan State controlled on the defensive end, really outside of Hunter Dickinson for Kansas. They were not really able to get anything going until a couple of their guys hit some shots late in the game. The problem for Michigan State was they couldn't hit any shots themselves. So we're going to get into it, recap the game here. If you could, just hit that like and subscribe button down there. More Michigan State content on the channel as we move throughout the season, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a video. So 69-77 in a game that I would call optimistically frustrating, and I'll kind of explain that as I go through this video. I'll go through the frustrating part first and kind of some of the bad from this game. First off, your shooting, just in general. From the field, 24 for 69, 34.8%, and 3 for 24 for 12.5% from 3. That is atrocious. That is not going to win you any game against hardly any team in the country, let alone the number one ranked team in the country. So the shooting was absolutely atrocious from the floor. Free throw shooting was good, 18 for 21, 85.7%. Overall, they were not moving the ball at all, hardly on offense. Only 11 assists on the night. The problem there, 11 assists, 11 turnovers. That's the problem. You were able to force 10 turnovers on the Kansas side, but when you have 11 assists to 11 turnovers, that's a wash right there. The ball was not moving. There was some positives that we'll get to on the offensive side, but there was a lot of negatives as well. And one of those negatives was not moving the ball well, assist-wise. Michigan State also didn't do a good job of getting out on the fast break and converting. Only 18 fast break points. That number could have and should have been higher for them. I thought Kansas did a good job of getting back and forcing them into some tough opportunities. And a couple times I know Jeremy Fears and Trey Holloman a couple times, I believe, got out in transition. I think Jace Richardson as well. But got out, was trying to get to the lane, wasn't there, so had to pull it out and start the offense. So, you had to credit Kansas on that side for getting back and having good transition defense there. But that was going to need to. That was one of the things we talked about coming into the game. You need to have good transition offense. We'll move into some players real quick. And listen, this brings me no joy to say this, but Jaden Akins, that was a stinker nonetheless. 2 points, 1 for 8 from the field, 0 for 4 from 3, and only 1 rebound. This was a game that we came in and said Jaden Akins was going to have to score. He was going to have a similar output to the first game of the season. He didn't have that, but Michigan State was able to hang in there anyway. But another thing we said, defense. I'd say he defended okay throughout the game. But another thing, and the third thing, and probably the most important thing, especially if his offense wasn't going to be there, was rebounding, specifically on the offensive glass. Only 1 rebound. That it just can't happen. And if Jaden Akins is your best player can't have 2 points in the first big test of your season. I'm not sounding the alarm bells yet, but it's getting close. But I think the fact that this team was able to hang in there with Jaden Akins only scoring 2 points and shuffling into Xavier Booker as well. 0 points, 1 rebound. 0 for 5 from the field, 0 for 4 from 3. I mean, if you're two of your best scorers on this team, or supposed best scorers on this team, projected best scorers on this team coming into the season, both put up a combined 2 points for 2 rebounds on a combined 1 for 15 shooting, if my math is right there. Listen, you're not going to win many games there. I'm going to be honest though, that is all I have from the negative side. I mean, there was a few times on Griffin and Harris and Storr in the second half that you could have closed out a little bit better to their threes. I mean, neither team shot the three ball well at all. Kansas was able to hit a couple in the second half. They finished 5 for 17. Not a good percentage either way, 29%, but those late three-pointers was able to give them a better percentage than Michigan State in that category. But overall, I thought the defense on the wings and guards were solid. Listen, Dickinson coming into the game, we said that more than likely it's going to be let Dickinson do his thing. Let him get his 27, 28, 33, and 12, whatever it was, 14, whatever it was going to be. He finished with 28 and 12, 13 for 21 from the floor, hit a three-pointer as well. I mean, that's what you expect. That's, there's not much you can do to counteract that. And I thought Michigan State did a good job of executing that game plan. But just some late closeouts to allow Kansas to step into some three-pointers late, hit some clutch shots by them. You have to credit them, tip the cap. But Michigan State, on a few of those, close out a little bit better. Things could have looked differently there down the stretch. But I want to move into some positives because, as I said, this was a optimistically frustrating. I just went over the frustrating part. Only making 3 3-pointers, shooting 3 for 24 from 3. That was the frustrating part. But the optimistic part is how this team played. Given 2 of your best 3 or 4 players in Jaden Akins and Xavier Booker did not play particularly well at all. They combined for 2 points and 2 rebounds. Really, you got to start out Frankie Fiddler. 15 points, 8 rebounds. A lot of that coming from the free throw line. A lot of it was kind of foul baity, getting to the line. But listen, that's kind of what Michigan State needed in this game to slow things down because nothing was falling on offense for them. Frankie was able to get the ball in the corner a lot, pump fake, get kind of like we talked about in the preseason in the summer, get to his move, get the defender up in the air, draw the foul, get to the line. There was a few more that I think the refs were like, okay, you're just trying to foul bait, so they weren't giving you that were actually fouls. But unfortunately, that's the game you're going to play when you have a player playing like Frankie Fiddler, looking for that contact. But overall, I think this was Frankie's best game. 1 for 6 from 3, 3 for 12 from the field, though. You got to hit some of these shots, and really as a unit to begin this season, atrocious from shooting the three-pointer, and really not that great from shooting from the field either. So as we continue to ramp into this season, that shot's got to start falling from this whole team, from everyone. It's not a singular person or two. For the team, three-pointers and field goals have to start falling down at some point. Someone else I was impressed with, Jeremy Fears overall. Thought he ran the team well. 9 points, 3 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 for 8 from the field. He did a lot of driving the ball under the basket, looking for kickouts, 4 threes. None of the threes were just falling, though. If that wasn't there, he was doing a good job at curl dribbling to get back to the front of the rim, going up, drawing the foul, getting to the free throw line. So I thought that was positive steps for Jeremy Fears there. Unfortunately, 4 fouls, though, in the game. But overall, I thought he was solid, especially at pushing the pace as well. We saw a couple times that he was able to just get out after a made basket, beat the Jayhawk defense down the court to get a bucket, and I think one of the times was even getting to the bucket for an and one. That might have been in a half-court set, though, but later in the second half, like I said, he was able to get the ball after a make, push it down, get a layup. That is a staple of Michigan State basketball, and I thought he had a pretty solid game overall. Jackson Kohler, 12 points, 9 rebounds. I mean, he was the focal point of the offense for a lot of the second half. I mean, was dumping the ball down to him, was making a few nice moves, missed a couple of bunnies, and that's the frustrating part. Listen, if you finish with 3 3-pointers, if you make 5 3-pointers and make a couple of the easy bunnies that, Jackson Kohler had at the rim. Some other guys had some opportunities close near the rim in the paint. If you make a couple of those, this is a different game, and Michigan State might get out of here with a win, especially with the way their defense was playing. Jace Richardson as well had a really good end of the first half, scored the team's last 6 points, including an and one 3-pointer right before the end of the first half. I thought he probably should have been out there a little more in the second half, and I would have liked to see more of that 3-guard lineup with Trey Holloman in there as well. I mean, he was solid as well towards the end. 5 points, 2 assists, 2 rebounds for Trey, but again, only 12 minutes for him. So to begin the season, obviously the first game was foul trouble for Trey Holloman, but Jace Richardson has been playing about 20 minutes a game, and Trey's been under that. I believe all 3 games, but for sure in 2 of the 3 games this season. So that's kind of an interesting development. I would like to see, possibly, especially once Kansas got in foul trouble and they went small as well, would like to see that counteract with the 3 guard lineup. And if, Cohen Carr at the 4. Yes, we saw a lot of that. 8 points, 2 for 2 from the free throw line, 2, which was big, 3 for 5 from the field, 3 rebounds. Need to have some more rebounds there. And the stats actually did just update now. Jackson Kohler had 12 and 10, so he did have a double-double. But I would like to see going forward, especially if some teams go small. I mean, we saw them do it for a couple years, the last couple years, with A.J. Hoggard, Tyson Walker, and Jaden Akins. We're not asking for that a starting lineup, but just to be able to counteract when a team does go small. Instead of maybe Fiddler at the 3, even though he did have a good game, his best game as a Spartan, would like to see some of that, even if it's for a 2-3 minute spurt here. I think that can provide a lot of options for Michigan State on offense. I thought Carson Cooper hung in there as well. 16 minutes, 2 for 2 from the field, 5 rebounds, 6 points overall, and he hung in there in the paint. I mean, Hunter's going to do that to pretty much anyone that you play, and I thought him and Simon Zapala as well. 19 minutes, 2 for 3 from the field for him, only 3 rebounds and 4 points. But overall, really, I thought the rebounding was really solid for Michigan State. 43 rebounds opposed to 47 for Kansas. Look, at the end of the day, this sucks. I mean, this is a tough loss in the Champions Classic in a game that you could have won. So that'll be frustrating, and not to go all moral victory, but I liked how they fought against the number 1 team in the country, and my stock continues to rise on this team. I'm not ready to say, lock in a bet for them to win the Big Ten Conference. But with the way the Big Ten has looked at the beginning of this year, I don't see any reason why this team shouldn't be in that discussion of, a handful of teams that are in contention to win the Big Ten this year. But look, that is definitely a tough pill to swallow. 77-69 final loss to Kansas in the Champions Classic, moving to 2-1 on the season. Got Bowling Green up on Saturday night back at the Breslin Center. Got 2 games left before you head to Maui. Both at home against Bowling Green and against Sanford next Tuesday. Fine-tune a couple of things, have a couple of days to work on yourself before heading out to Maui. You'll start out with Colorado. You could face UConn. I'm pretty sure North Carolina's in the field as well. A lot of good teams in that field, but we'll obviously talk about it closer we get to that. But we'll be back with a Bowling Green preview later this week, but that'll do it for this one. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.